Hey guys, Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. How you guys doing? Welcome to the video. Sending some positive vibes to you guys out there, especially if you need it. If you're going through something, just recognize that you will get through whatever you're going through, you know? Stay strong, stay in there, stay in the fight, you know? Today, we have some balance changes, guys, for February 2023. Can you believe? I think I say this every freaking balance change video. You guys must be so sick of hearing it, but can you believe we're already in February of 2023, guys? I can't, if you can't tell. Anyway, I was traveling the last few days over the weekend for work, and I listened on the plane. I re-listened to the audiobook. I read the book back in the day of the Diary of Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, and boy, it really resonated with me, and it just made me so grateful for what I have, so some gratitude towards the position I am in life, but also I really resonated to a 14, 15-year-old girl writing 90 years ago, and it just made me, it's in a sober way, it made me recognize again what I have and to be thankful for what I have. So highly recommend to any of you who never read it, or maybe it's been a few years like me since you have listened or read to that book / audiobook. Highly recommend it. You can tell I'm still feeling kind of the weight from that. Anyway, guys, why you clicked on the video is the balance changes. So let's go through it. Let's go ahead and talk about what's changing, and let's go ahead and take a quick look at the community reaction as well. Massive shout out to Royale API. They put this out at Royale API on their Twitter. You can go ahead and follow them. They have all the news, not just the balance changes of Clash Royale. Also shout out to their creator code, Royale API. So the buffs, let's start with the buffs, guys. We see the Monk, who really, how the mighty hath fallen, ladies and gentlemen, with the Monk, dude. He is abysmal right now. He doesn't feel like a champ. Forget champion. He doesn't feel like a legendary card right now in the game. So I'm happy to see this buff. Hit time going from 0.9 seconds to 0.8 seconds. That's 11% faster on his hit speed. DPS plus 13%. I love the extra stats there, just to kind of, tell us what that actually means. So his DPS is going up quite a bit. Is this going to be enough for the Monk? His stats are really bad right now. Honestly, I felt like maybe he could use even a little bit more, but time will tell. It's nice to see them buffing him at all right now at this point. First hit time on the Firecracker goes from 1 second to 0.6 seconds. That's 40% faster. You know what that means to me? Easier to activate your King Tower off of the Firecracker. Even easier than it already was, right? But it is a buff, generally speaking, quite a substantial one. It's going to make Firecracker even more annoying than she already is. She has really crappy win rates in the game, but I don't know about you guys, but I never look at her and think, oh, it's Firecracker, easy, noob. I don't think that at all. Like, I don't like going against Firecracker, so now I'm expecting a lot more of her. Archers, hit time, 1.1 seconds to 0.9 seconds. That's 18% faster. DPS plus 22%. Not just Expo users, 2.9 users must be happy, but really any Archer user, scratch that. Any user who's looking for a really nice anti-air card for 3 elixir that you can split in the back, to me, this is an amazing buff and a very, very substantial one. A very big buff to the Archers. I'm excited about this one, man. I think the Archers for 3 elixir are going to be everywhere now, and I'm kind of, again, they've been kind of mediocre / maybe below average for so long now. Maybe some would argue even underrated, but now they're going to be properly rated. They're going to be really, really good. Knight plus 6% HP. Okay, cool. I agree with that buff as well. So far, I love actually all of these buffs. And then we have the Goblin Giant, guys. He's going to be seeing a 1.7 second to a 1.5 second hit time. And this is Spear Goblin's hit time while in the Giant backpack, to be very clear, not the actual Goblin Giant's hit time. That's 12% faster. That is a 13% boost to DPS. I love this too because I love the Goblin Giant, man. I hope this makes him a little bit more viable, not just in Sparky decks, not just in maybe Double Prince decks, but, it just gives him it gives us another option for a big tank in the game. So I'm excited to see that one. I can't argue, honestly, with any of these buffs. I love them all. Nerfs. We see the tower damage from the rocket. It's being brought down by 17% tower damage. Pretty substantial, and I'm really happy about this one. I can't imagine there's many players out there who's like, no, have rocket do more. I guess all the spell cycle people, right? Have rocket do more to spell tower damage. The Phoenix. So the reborn Phoenix HP is going to be 80% of the original. The damage is going to be 80% of the original. This is an interesting nerf, and I'm actually all in favor for it to the Phoenix. The original Phoenix is going to remain just as strong. The reborn Phoenix is going to be just a slightly worse version of the Phoenix. 4/5 of a proverbial Phoenix. So interested to see how this one will work here, but overall, I think it's a pretty good nerf, and I don't think it's a too big of a nerf in the sense that it's going to make the card not viable. It's still going to be super, super strong in my opinion. The Tornado. Damage minus 6%. 2 ticks to kill skeletons now. Nah, I think Tornado is still going to be one of the best cards in the game. I've unabashedly always said that I think Tornado is possibly the best card in the game. This does not change that to me. 6% damage reduction, meh. To me, it's almost a non-factor. First hit time of the Queen. So the Queen is getting a nerf here, guys. The first hit is going to be 200% slower from 0.1 to 0.3. That, to me, is a pretty decent nerf to the Queen. It kind of bums me out. But at the end of the day, I do think Queen is super strong, too. So I guess I can't argue with it. I do want to go ahead and read some of these tweet responses here and see what people have to say on Twitter. Boss says, instead of nerfing Tornado's overall damage, they should make it do 0 damage to towers, but keep it the same for troops. That way, it doesn't allow for Easy King activation off Graveyard and no longer gets free chip damage on towers, giving it a small enough nerf. Thoughts? Well, 126 people agree. We'll join the chorus there. I think it is kind of unorthodox and a little weird in a way that the Tornado does damage to towers. I don't know. Maybe I guess tornadoes do damage to buildings in real life, you know, so maybe it's not that counterintuitive, but I kind of like that idea. The DPS nerf, though, to me, doesn't seem like much, right? We have the rocket one should be matched with other big spells. The NATO nerf is not how NATO should be nerfed. Archers and Knight don't need that big of a buff, says the juicy one old school player in the game who definitely knows his stuff. I'm okay with the Archers and Knight buff, honestly, but we'll give him a heart anyway. Jewel says, you're finished, Jasper CR 23. You're finished, bro. You're finished. Maybe a rocket user. Then we have these changes are so bad. I thought it was made by a Redditor, says Eternity. So Eternity is not a fan at all. SK says, Knight and Archer buffs. This is a huge win for Expo and general free-to-play decks. That's true, right? Maybe we'll see less Val Queen. Spam now. Love the Reborn Phoenix nerf. Rocket 17% nerf seems way too big. And Archer Queen was long overdue. It is welcome. Lucas Gamer says, loved all the changes, but Tornado can't be changed like that. It would be a free King Tower activation versus Graveyard, making it even more broken. So I'm glad we read the comments, guys, because honestly, I didn't even kind of put that together. Now 2 ticks allows you to activate off of graveyards, off of skeletons from the graveyard. Very interesting, very interesting. I am going to pause and not overreact too much. I mean, these guys are pros. They would know better than me. But for me, let's see how easy or difficult it is. But you know what? Think about it. There's a lot of skeletons there. A few are bound to spawn RNG close to the King Tower. You pull them all in, and yeah, King Tower activation off of a graveyard is a massive, massive, massive advantage. It's really out of every archetype in the game. When you're a graveyard player and they activate their King Tower against Graveyard, it's one of the biggest disadvantages out of every archetype to go against an activated King Tower. So that is very interesting. Could that Tornado be a buff? Yikes. Some of them are weird, but let's see. You guys really need to work with a couple of pros doing balance. It's ridiculous how little you know about your games. It's Jake CR. Believe it or not, they work with a lot of pros doing their balance changes. I'm actually a member of the Creator Club, you know, whatever, Creator Academy, whatever we're calling it, and Supercell Creator Club. I'm actually a member of the Supercell Creator Club, and although I am not in there giving feedback personally, I don't think I'm the best person to give balanced feedback. I think pro players, casters, commentators, coaches, those type of minds. But I will say there are dozens, if not, closer to more, the 50 people or so that give direct feedback to balance changes. So they do work with more than a couple pros, just to put that out there. Not going to name names because then they get heat, right? If you disagree. And let's face it, people always disagree with everything. It's the rule of the internet. Number one rule. We need some lore to explain how spear goblins in a backpack can throw their spears faster than normal. You know what, Milo? That is a great point. We do need some lore. How does the backpack improve their spear throwing abilities? I will say, just kind of to finish off that Jake CR note here about pros, that's not to say that a pros actually picked all of these balance changes. They have the opportunity, along with some select longtime creators, to give early feedback. And oftentimes, the balance team, the game designers, will actually change, taking those into consideration. So, they could have maybe, hypothetically, I don't know if this happened or not, but the pros could have been like, that's a buff to Tornado, and then they didn't do anything about it. So, who's to say what happened, but they do elicit quite a bit of community feedback there. Tornado seems to be the biggest one that everybody is talking about. Noah says, overall decent changes other than the NATO. Is this a joke? Tornado's going to be broken, says Ice Mao. We'll give you a heart because I'm butchering your name, man. But anyway, guys, fake Royale post can't be true, says Jasper. Well, there we go. And Jasper was the one who, you're finished, says Jules. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it. How do you feel about these balance changes? Again, looking at them all here, I'm okay with Monk. I'm okay with the over buffs to Archer and Knight. Again, good for free-to-play players, and I just think it's kind of nice to switch things up a little bit. I'm okay with, is the game going to be broken because Archer's a little bit too strong? I don't think so. Even with Expo and stuff like that, I don't think it's going to be, but we'll see. Time will tell. I'm okay with Goblin Giant. I'm okay with a Rocket nerf, even though it was pretty heavy-handed. I'm okay with the Phoenix. I'm okay with the Queen. And the NATO, that's a conversation for another video. Maybe a follow-up podcast-style video. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, positive vibes, some love out there. If you need it, sending it to you right now. And as always, take care, guys.